Yeah, so that kind of leads us right into our discrepancies. So we're going to get into where we have some of us have guys higher, some of us have guys lower, and we're going to talk about why we're higher or lower on those guys. So that leads right into Saquon. So Matt's got him at 4, and Q has him at 4. But T Gods and I have him at 7 and 8. So what's the difference here? Why are you guys so much higher on Saquon than we are?
I mean, like Q said, his rookie season, he played a full season, finished RB1. Bang.
He's the best running back. Sorry, you can go. I'm just saying he's the best running back. I would take him over Christian McCaffrey if they both were healthy this season or last season, whatever.
Wow.
Saquon went number 2 last year.
I'm not agreeing with that statement from Q right there. But I will say he missed 3 games in 2019, still finished RB10. He was RB7 on a points per game basis. So, I mean, I think if he comes into the season, gets his body right, even if he takes week 1 off, just come back 100% healthy, he has all the opportunity in the world to finish top 5. I mean, Daniel Jones is still going to rely heavily on him catching the ball out of the backfield. He had 91 catches in 2018, 52 in 2019, and that's when he missed games. So he's still going to get targeted out of the backfield. They added more weapons on the outside, so defenses are going to be kind of weary about that, not too much. But, I mean, it doesn't take a lot for Saquon to find a hole and just go.
And as long as Saquon's healthy, there's already, like, Galladay's dealing with something that could linger into whatever, and Shepard as well. I saw a report today that, like, the team that's practicing right now with the first team is a team that finished, like, 30th overall because all the starters are hurt. They're 30th ranked offense overall. So as long as Saquon's there, hopefully the offensive line's a little improved. But, yeah, he could 4. His ADP is probably based off of him maybe missing week 1. But,
yeah, that's – go ahead, QT Gods. You got it.
QT Gods? Okay. No, like – his ADP is there because he might miss week 1, but that's like you're like undermining that a little bit. Like that's a big deal because if he like rushes back, like his risk of re-injury is way higher than if he just like if he waited. But either way, like I don't want to draft someone with that much risk as like even in like a first round. That's still scary. Like if I have like 7th pick and I'm taking Saquon and his risk of getting hurt again is crazy because he's trying to rush back on the field for some reason. Then like no, that's going to be a no for me. I'm sorry.
Yeah. And we're not that much lower. Like you're at 7. I got him at 8, and I'm with the same reason as you. I'm just a little bit hesitant with the injury. If I knew Saquon was 100% healthy right now, he'd be a top 5 running back for me too. That's where I would have him. But if I was drafting today, I'd have a little bit of hesitancy, and I'd probably draft him around RB8. That's where I have him. Just a little bit more risk baked into that. You're not 100% sure on week 1. That could linger into week 2, week 3. Then you're missing your number 1 guy for the first couple of weeks. It's a little bit scary for me. That's the only reason I don't have him there. Obviously, his upside's through the roof. He was RB1 only a couple years ago, and he's a freak talent. Just want to see him stay healthy, and I hope that he's ready for week 1. If they announce by next week that he's going to be ready for week 1, I'll move him back into my top 5. But for now, I'm just going to keep him at 8, just because I am a little bit nervous, like T-Got said. I don't want him to rush back, but I also, if he's missing weeks, that hurts his value for me a little bit.
Understandable.
All right, let's get into the next one here. Naji Harris. He's currently going as RB11, 15th overall. Matt and T-God said that's perfect. They got him at 11. Q's got him at 14, and I actually have him at 18.
Yeah, I thought I was low. I want to know why you're so low, because now I feel a little more normal because I'm closer to the ADP.
I really like Naji Harris. Outrageous. The thing that really scares me is, number 1, this offensive line is brutal. And number 2, he wasn't that great of a pass catcher in college. He did have 43 catches last year, but that wasn't like his primary role. He's definitely a good running back overall. But I'm just a little bit hesitant with, number 1, a rookie coming into this offense. Number 2, on one of the pass heaviest offenses in the league. I think they are the pass heaviest offense. They have 3 elite wide receivers that they're going to be throwing to all the time.
Elite?
3 really good wide receivers.
Really
Let's
good.
be real. They're not really good.
One's really good.
Would you take
right.
any of them as the wide receiver 1 on the Eagles right now?
Yes.
Not Juju.
I would easily take Juju as wide receiver 1 on the
Eagles.
Well,
I'm just kidding. But they're not. Doesn't mean they're really good.
They're good wide receivers. Okay. They have good wide receivers. They're at pass heaviest offense, and their offensive line is, I think, 30th ranked in the league. That offensive line is rough. Najee's going to have some tough times finding holes. We saw what happened last year when James Conner went out and they had those other guys coming in that weren't as good as James Conner at that point. Benny Snell did absolutely nothing. Obviously,
Worst
Naji Harris
football player of all time.
Obviously, Naji Harris is a little bit of a step up of them, I would hope. But I'm just drafting him more as like a middle RB2 rather than putting him in that RB1 category right away. Just a little bit of risk for me. I think some of the other guys I like a little bit more, like Clyde Edwards are a little bit safer personally.
I think the volume is just what's going to, it may not be like effective volume. Like he could be having like 30 carries and it may not equal the amount of yards that he should have, but he's still going to get all those
Still
carries.
opportunity.
Yeah.
Right.
I think that's all he's going to need.
Yeah, I think he's definitely going to get the volume just because Mike Tomlin's always been a one running back kind of guy. But I don't think he's going to get more than 20 carries in a game. James Conner's peak was 20 last year, and they're a pass heavy team. So the volume's going to be there. I just want to see him get there with his pass catching ability, put it onto like that NFL level.
I don't know. I don't think old Ben Roethlisberger's throwing as much as he did last year because he was throwing like all-time highs.
Apparently, he's in the best shape of his life, which is crazy.
No.
That's what they're saying.
Maybe he's like the lightest he's ever been, but he's definitely not in the best shape.
Yeah, that's the only reason I'm so low on him. I'm just a little bit nervous. Rookie offensive line, pass heavy offense just pushes him down a little bit for me compared to some of these other guys. You guys really don't have to defend why you have him at 11. You have him right at ADP, but I understand why you would put him there. He's got the upside to be an RB1. I don't doubt that. Volume.
That's it.
All right, let's get into my boy, Joe Mixon. I'm obviously going to get into him a little bit more later, of course. But for now, I got him at RB10. Q has him at 12. T-God's got him at 15. And Matt has him at 18. Matt, why do you hate my mans?
Because he has done nothing in this league to prove otherwise. Nothing. His best finish was where? RB10.
And then he was RB13.
And then
he's got two top 13 finishes. And you got him at 18?
I got him at 18. The offensive line is still dog shit. They added another weapon on the outside just to Joe Burrow, who was throwing at an alarming rate last year. I mean, their defense didn't get any better, so he's going to throw just as much this year probably. I mean, I just don't see Joe Mixon getting the opportunity to finish inside the top 15 really this year.
You know, what's interesting, though, is that since him and Dalvin got drafted the same year, and he's played more games than Dalvin. Somehow he's the injury bug.
Yeah, it's true.
But obviously, Dalvin's done more with less.
That was
less
a lot
games.
better.
Yeah, Dalvin Cook's better than Joe Mixon. I'm not going to argue that. But I do like Joe Mixon a lot this year. Like Matt was trying to say, his highest finish is 10, and then he also finished 13 the year before that. And last year, he was on a pretty decent pace. I think he had obviously he had one huge game last year, and there's only 5 games he was able to play. Too small of a sample size to really count. I think you could, if at worst, if he's finishing RB13, which he did twice with Giovanni Bernard in the backfield and still a poor offensive line, that's fine with me. I think at best he can easily get into the top 5, which I'll get into in a little bit. Joe Mixon has all the opportunity in the world with Giovanni Bernard gone now. So the pass catching upside is going to be higher than it ever has been. His only competition for carries are Samaje Perine and fake Captain America, Chris Evans. So there's literally nobody else in that backfield. Like you said, Joe Burrow is going to be under pressure. He's going to dump it off to Joe Mixon. When he's under pressure, Joe Mixon's going to, I think he has the upside to easily get 50 plus catches this year. That's why I like him a lot.
And I think, I mean, if he somehow does what you're talking about, you're getting him at a steal at where he's being drafted right now.
Yeah, RB13.
Just because
I got him at 10.
Not there.
Gio's not there.
You're
no
not worried
competition.
about P. Ryan.
Not worried about Samaje Perine.
We'll get into else to deal with Joe Mixon. Do not.
Yeah, like Sean.
Yeah, let me deal with him. Let me have Joe Mixon. I'll take him.
You can take him.
Let me have him, please. I'll take him. All right, let's move on. We'll talk about him more later, of course. Clyde Edwards, Eclair, RB14 is currently going 24th overall. T-Gods and Matt both a little bit ahead of that at RB13.
We're on the same page today, T-Gods.
As usual.
I got him at 15, and then Q's got him at 18. So, Q, why do you hate CH?
I don't know if I hate him, but
you hated him last year.
and I ended up with him on my team too, which is kind of funny. But he is coming into the season with an injury already. You're definitely not drafting him as the guy that you were last year, being like the cornerstone of your team. Andy Reid, we know, likes to throw the ball, and he literally has the best quarterback in the league. So I don't know if he's ever going to rely on the run. When they signed Le'Veon Bell, the Clyde Edwards-Helaire owners were panicking, and Le'Veon Bell still had no impact really, and Clyde didn't do much. He only had 13 or more points 5 times, and the players that I have ranked ahead of him, so 17 up or 17 like 13, I would take way over, as they have more like a certified floor and high ceiling. I think Clyde could have I wouldn't be surprised if he finished top 10 just because he's in that powerful Chiefs offense. But I think the injury already and him leaving last season with an injury, I don't know. And like last year, like all the hype, and I already put a bad taste in my mouth. So
you can't hype up a rookie like that. It's always going to come back to bite you.
And then some people, what was the guy on Good Morning Football that took him first overall?
That was pretty bad.
Yeah, that's bold. He did have 13 plus points 7 times, just as a quick note. Depending if you play decimals
still
or
in
not.
standard.
I said the wrong.
Depending if you play decimals or
I
not.
just can't count.
But of those 7 times, 5 of those came in the first 7 weeks before Le'Veon got there. Once Le'Veon got there, obviously it had a big impact. CH did miss a couple games down the stretch as well, but even still had some pretty decent games. So that's why I like him a little bit more. But I'm lower than T-Gods and Matt, so they like him even more than I do. You guys think he's got the RB1 upside?
I do, and I think it's really just because he's on the best offense in the league with. Sorry, Q. I know that might offend you a little bit, but they are the best offense in the league, and he has no serious competition. Like there's nothing to not like except for him not living up to like all the hype last year. But
Or the
if you just ignore that, like you had all that hype last year, he was still like all right. He was solid, and I think it's his second year.
He was an RB2 last year.
Yeah, his second year in, same offense, great offense, no competition.
No Le'Veon. Darrell Williams only had 26 catches last year. 26 targets, not even catches.
Ooh.
So, I mean, like, Clyde Edwards-Helaire is going to be the workhorse in this backfield by far. I mean, he didn't have a single fumble last year, so I'm sure Andy Reid loves that. And he also had 9 rushing attempts within the 5-yard line. So,
How many scores?
1.
I mean, obviously, after a couple of tries, they're gonna.
Well, more, but he only had 1 on the.
We're expecting some positive regression there. We'll score. We'll get those touchdowns.
I mean,
he'll get them.
It should be easier to get more than 1. You only have 1.
He'll get them for sure.
Yeah, they should come. Yeah, I like CEH. I'm with you guys. All right, let's move on to J.K. Dobbins. He's currently going RB 15, 28th overall. I'm the highest on him out of us. I have him at 14. Q, Matt, and T-Gods all below ADP, 17, 19, 20. I guess I'll just start off, and you guys can say why you don't like him that much. But I've just had a gut feeling on him, obviously, since last year. J.K. Dobbins, the talent is legit, first-round running back. And now Mark Ingram is gone. He's coming into his second season. Obviously, Gus Edwards is there. He's still going to take away some of that volume. But when J.K. Dobbins was able to get that volume last year, at least 10 carries, he was able to put up a good amount of points on a week-per-week basis. As long as he's getting touches and he's involved in the offense, he's going to make plays happen. He's one of the most explosive players. He's already been making huge plays this preseason and in camp. I love J.K. Dobbins this year. I feel like he has RB1 upside as long as he's able to get more of that volume. The only reason I don't have him in that spot there, obviously, is Gus Edwards still exists. I think that's the only thing holding him back from RB1. Yeah, Lamar Jackson as well.
The 2 things that concern me is last season, Lamar led the team in rushing attempts. And the past 2 seasons, he's led the team in rushing yards. So, I mean, Lamar is kind of, in a sense, their running back. Gus Edwards is still there. He had more rushing attempts than J.K. Dobbins did last year. I mean, obviously, I believe J.K. is going to get more this year, but he's still going to take a healthy chunk of work away from J.K. So, I mean, it's just hard to bank on him to get the volume that he needs to produce at a top 15 running back rate.
Yeah, he would need to score a lot to be ever put in the top 15.
And he needs to catch some more balls.
Yep,
18 receptions.
Only 18. T-Gods, I love you.
Yeah, he definitely needs. That's the only downside to him is obviously he does not have the PPR upside just because of Lamar Jackson. His first instinct is not let me dump off this pass. It's let me see what I can do with my legs. So that's going to hurt him a little bit. But even
Selfish.
with the volume last year of the last, I think 10 games, he had at least 13 points in 8 of them. And that's with Gus Edwards still there. Everything Lamar Jackson still playing like actually Lamar Jackson got better in the second half of the season as well. So I think he does have top 15 upside for sure. Even with some of the hindrances there, he's going to get more work this year. That's why I like Dobbins.
He's another one that needs more touchdowns.
Yeah, he definitely does. He may become a little bit touchdown dependent just because the pass catching ceiling is not there. Even though he is a really good pass catcher, they just don't throw it to him. All right, next guy here, Q's man's Miles Sanders.
I love
You're the highest. You got him at RB 15. He's currently going as RB 20, 38th overall. Matt's got him at 16, so they're both ahead of ADP. T God's also slightly ahead at 19. I got him at 20, right where he's being drafted. So why do you guys like Booby so much?
I did move him down a bit. I think I had him at 12 or 13, but we expressed them that, well, I did on the NFC East episode. Sirianni liked using the running backs a lot in Indianapolis. Jonathan Taylor's success, but I also mentioned that there were too many running backs in Philly. They cut Kerryon Johnson, so now they're 1%. The running backfield is now 1% less filled. There are reports I saw that Boston Scott and Miles Sanders could be splitting touches almost evenly, which would be extremely disrespectful to Miles Sanders. So as long as he's worked on his hands, which it's like good or bad, every day is something new with hearing about that. The production could be there, and I couldn't find the stat from last year, but there was like something where when Miles Sanders touched the ball, like he made the most of his carries. Like he was probably top of the league in yards per something. So you just hope that he can be the workhorse that he was drafted to be originally.
I mean, you don't have 3 rushes of 70+ yards in the same season if you're a bad running back. Volume is the only concern here with Miles Sanders. Talent level there, his hands, you can work on it. I'm sure he's been all off season. Just the bodies around him take away so much value from him, and I feel so bad for him. Because if it was just him by himself, put him on the Bengals instead of Joe Mixon, he finishes better than Joe Mixon every year.
Then maybe top 5 would be a thing.
Every year.
Mixon's going to be top 5. Just watch. Just wait.
Every year.
Just wait on it. That's my bold take. It's definitely top 10. Though. Anyways, Miles Sanders, I'm with you guys. I like him. I just have him at ADP. Like that's where I'm drafting him. That's where I feel comfortable drafting him. I have him a little bit lower than some of these other guys just because of the lack of volume. That's the only thing that scares me too. But in favor of volume, I think they have Jordan Howard listed as RB2 on the depth chart. So maybe he still gets a lot of his passing game work like we hope for Miles Sanders. But we shall see. Jordan Howard might become a vulture.
Those depth charts are just all caps. So I'm not really looking at any of those anymore until like week 1.
Well, that's like the latest depth chart. It's not like the early one. Like they actually updated it and moved Jordan Howard up.
Good for him.
But we shall see. All right, let's move on to Myles Gaskin. Q, you are the highest at 22. Matt's right there at 23. T-God's 24. I'm at 26. But his ADP is 22. So Q, you're only drafted him where you're supposed to be drafted. I guess you guys can defend him, but you guys are still lower than ADP. What do you guys got?
I'll just say that he did look good in his last preseason game. He scored 2 touchdowns, and he was targeted a lot. He had 4 catches and 70 yards rushing. I'm not concerned about Malcolm Brown. I didn't watch the game, so I don't know if he was playing with the 1s or the 2s. Last year, he was used heavily in the passing game with 74 targets in 10 games. I think there's a risk, but you're not really drafting him to be Antonio Gibson type ceiling, but he's an RB2 with possibly top 15 upside weekly just because he can catch the ball, and Tua is still unproven, so he could be looking for the dump offs as well.
I mean, as long as he stays healthy, I have faith that he could easily finish as an RB2. I mean, on a points per game basis last year, on a minimum of at least 10 games played, he had 16.4 points per game, which would have been 10th among running backs. So I like Gaskin a lot. I don't really believe that Tua will be like slinging the ball like, say, a Joe Burrow would be. Or
he should be because he has good weapons, but he won't.
He won't be, but I mean, his only competition is really Salvin, however you say his last
Savon
name.
Ahmed.
Savon Ahmed. There you go.
That was good.
That was
You
really
like
good.
that? I gave a little tongue roll
Yeah.
too. But yeah, I mean, as long as he gets the volume, just like Miles Sanders, I mean, I guess it runs in the miles. But as long as I get the volume, I think Miles Gaskin should be straight.
Yeah, I'm with you guys. I'm a little bit lower. My only concern is the coach really wants to use all of their running backs. And it seems like he's pretty stubborn about it with Malcolm Brown for some reason. So if Miles Gaskin disappears some games, that's going to scare me. But I do still think he's the most talented guy in that backfield. And I think that'll be obvious most weeks. So that's why I still like him as like a high-end flex, low-end RB2 with mid RB2 upside. But yeah, same thing, Matt. Just needs the volume to be there. And that's the only my only concern.
Yes, sir.
Moving on to Javonte Williams. He's currently going RB26. I'm the highest, but I'm below ADP at 27. Q's the lowest at 36. Q, Matt, you guys are both pretty low. Why don't you guys like Javonte Williams as much?
Melvin Gordon.
See, that's how I looked at it. I kind of flipped it, and I'm like, Melvin Gordon. I gave all reasons why it's Melvin Gordon's backfield. As much as I don't like him, bad man. 7 games with 15 or more points. I think he's a solid running back, and I think he's on a contract here, so he's not like deteriorating as much as people may seem just because they draft their rookie running back. But Javonte Williams, I'll give it to him. There's probably some upside, but I think that'll just cause this backfield to be something like the
More of a
Ravens.
timeshare.
Yeah, where the Ravens comparing like Dobbins to Williams, obviously to at the beginning, like it was towards the end of the season where Dobbins was really getting some sort of roll on fantasy wise and a rhythm. Before that, he was just like extremely bugs weekly. So I think, yeah, I have him ranked at 36 because Melvin Gordon is still the guy.
Yeah, I think the only reason I have him a little bit higher is just because I like Javonte Williams more than I like Melvin Gordon at age 28. And I also don't think the Broncos are going to be that good. I think their defense is pretty solid. But with Teddy Bridgewater at the helm, they're going to be playing really safe football. And Javonte Williams, I think halfway through the season when they realized they probably are going to be out of the playoff race, like you mentioned, he could be more like Dobbins second half season kind of guy. I'm probably drafting him as a flex, like my RB3. That's where I have him, and that's where I would like to take him because he has the upside to be an RB2 when he's able to get more volume. And Melvin Gordon doesn't have the cleanest bill of health in his career either. So Javonte Williams could easily end up taking over this backfield even as early as like week 5 or 6. Personally, I just believe in his talent.
That whole team's going to be a question mark. And I saw something. I remember I wanted Teddy to be the starting, I wanted Teddy to be the starting quarterback. But then I saw an interview today with Drew Lock, and he just seems so defeated. So I'm like, I think I want him to be the starter. But I don't know.
Yeah,
can't be feeling bad for him.
Yeah, we'll see. Drew Lock definitely would give a little bit more upside to like the pass catchers, I think, just because he'll sling it more. But Teddy Bridgewater was able to have 3 top 25 guys last year in that Panthers offense. Well, I mean, Curtis Samuel was top 25, but he was kind of part running back. But still, he was able to support a good passing offense. So he could still be fine. We shall see. A couple more running backs with some differences here. Kenyon Drake. Matt, I think you're going to have to start us off with this one. Me and T-Gods and Q are all in the same area. We got him at 33 and 34. Matt's got him at 49, and his ADP is RB 38. 11 spots lower. Why do you hate Kenyon Drake?
He is not good. Kenyon Drake is not a good running back. I mean, like, we saw it last year. He had all the opportunity in the world. He was the lead back on the Cardinals, and we all were pushing for Chase Edmonds to start over him. So I don't understand how everybody is all of a sudden – I'm not going to say you're back on the Kenyon Drake train, but you're like you're above – everyone here except for me is above ADP. So you must have some sort of faith in him with Josh Jacobs still there.
See, that's the thing. I don't have faith in Josh Jacobs. That's why
Neither do I.
Drake. Right.
Exactly, me too.
And they have
I
no
feel
pass
like
catchers
I think
except
the
for Waller.
Raiders. I think the Raiders have faith in Josh Jacobs. So
They're
that's
forcing it.
It's kind of hindering Kenyon Drake's value for me. I mean, he finished RB16 last year. That's good and all, but he was the lead back. He had all the opportunity in the world, like I said. But he only had 25 catches last year. And I understand that there was another pass catching back there, but
That's all you need to understand.
Yeah.
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 Seriously.
I
Yeah.
think
Kenyon Drake has not been lower than RB17 since 2017.
I think that Jacobs.
he's going to
I
be
mean,
49.
Drake is going to be a better value pick than Jacobs, and Jacobs is being drafted a lot higher than. So that's saying something. I think they're a lot closer in the same realm of running back.
Yeah, I agree. And
I have
do think,
PTSD from Kenyon Drake.
yeah, Kenyon Drake had 50 plus catches in the 2 seasons before last year. Obviously, they liked Chase Edmonds a lot more as a pass catcher for the Arizona Cardinals last year. He is a better pass catcher than Kenyon Drake, but I think Kenyon Drake's a better pass catcher than Josh Jacobs is. They tried to get Josh Jacobs to catch more passes last year, and he never caught more than 4 in a game and only finished with 33 catches, only targeted him 45 times. And they won it in the preseason. They were like, we're going to use him a lot more as a pass catcher, and they really didn't use him that much. Obviously, his touchdown upside was huge last year, but I think with Kenyon Drake now coming in for competition, I think Kenyon Drake is going to be more of the third down guy and also probably be used as the hot hand guy. They paid him a lot of money to go there. They believe in his talent. I think they're going to use him. I don't think they're just going to, I think at worst, he's going to get like 30% snaps. And I think it could be closer to 50-50.
He'll be used a lot more than they've ever used like Jalen Richard or Devontae Booker.
Yeah, exactly.
They also are paying him a lot more, so they should.
Yep. All right, let's move on to the last one here. Nyheim Hines. T-Gods is the highest at 31. Matt's the lowest at 41, but we are all above ADP at RB 44. So I think we're all kind of pounding the table here for Nyheim Hines. T-Gods, why do you love him so much? You got him at 31.
Pass catching ability.
Of course.
Boom.
I don't
That's
think
it.
this
That's
team.
all we
That's
need.
all you got to say.
But listen, like,
You're
I
not
don't
wrong.
need that much because I have him at 31. Like, what? Like, how much can I have about a running back that I have at 31? But the pass catching ability is great. Like, he's a really good pass catcher, and that's going to be his bread and butter, and that's all you need. Carson Wentz is going to dump it off to him. And who else is catching balls? Old
The only reason
STY
I have him so low
or
is
Sean's
because
man Pittman?
Marlon Mack is back.
Bro,
See,
nobody's
the
worried
more
about him. Nobody's worried about him.
But
I'm not worried.
The
I'm
more
not worried.
bodies that they have in the backfield, the more touches are going to get taken away. Listen, T-Guys, I'm not disagreeing with you at all. We all have him above ADP, so we all love Nyheim Hines. But
Sean just
the
wants to fight.
I don't think he has nearly as much volume as he did last year.
And I don't see this team being down much either. So, I mean, that's not the reason for always bringing out a receiving back. But after Jonathan Taylor, they could just Marlon Mack is just like the sprinkles on top, and there might not be a real reason for Hines.
I think they're definitely going to use Hines. He's too talented to leave on the bench. He's had at least 44 catches in each of the last 3 seasons and 63 twice. He's obviously, like we said, a great pass catcher, and Carson Wentz likes to use his running backs in the passing game. We've seen it with Boston Scott. We've seen it with Darren Sproles. He's even targeted Miles Sanders a lot. So Nyheim Hines, obviously Phillip Rivers was probably one of the kings of throwing to the running back, and that's why he got 63 catches last year. But Carson Wentz, I still think could easily get him 50 plus catches. He was RB 15 last year. I have him at RB 34. Like, I think he could easily be in that like high end flex, like 25 to 30 range. And he's got upside any given week to be a top 24 running back. So that's why I like Nyheim Hines. Jonathan Taylor is obviously the guy there, but I still think Hines is going to be the second guy. Marlon Mack, he'll be mixed in here and there. I just don't see Marlon Mack
just touches
carving out a big enough role.
Is Jordan Wilkins still on the Colts?
Possibly, but then he's
Because he had a
RB4.
sort of an effect too.
Yeah, I think that's kind of the role that Marlon Mack's going to have. You know, Jordan Wilkins had between 5 and 10 carries most games. So I think that's what Marlon Mack's going to step into. I don't think Marlon Mack's going to ever have more than 10 carries while Jonathan Taylor and Hines are healthy. So we shall see, but I still like Nyheim Hines a lot. And we all do. We all got him over ADP. So
Sean just wanted to put some guy that we could all argue about when really.
Well, there's a 10
really
gap
care
difference.
about Nyheim Hines that much.
We like
him.
You guys just like him a lot more than I do.
10 spot difference there. It's a big difference. We're talking about our differences.